Hello everybody, Terracon4 here, and I'm going to be giving a demonstration on how to add the Jetpacks bundle into another project. In this case, I am using the Advanced Locomotion System as my base project. So, right off the bat, we'll start off with Jetpacks, Demo, Mannequin, Character, Mesh, Skeleton. So first things first, we're going to want to take this skeleton and replace its reference with the ALS skeleton. So before we do that though, if we want to actually use the handheld jetpack and have its exhaust work properly, we're going to want to take these exhaust bones. There's two on each hand. So right click, copy the selected sockets, and then right click, paste sockets to selected bone, or Control Shift V. Grab these off of the left hand, copy, and paste onto the right hand, paste. And then one final one on the spine 3 bone. Control C. And paste. So with this, we've got all the stuff we need for the particle effects to know where to go when using the handheld pack. So go back to the jetpack, skeleton, delete, and now we find our ALS here in the replace references area. Click replace references, and it will delete and replace the references for all the animations and assets needed over to your own skeleton now, the ALS skeleton in this case. My personal suggestion, right click on the content folder, fix up redirectors, just fix it up because you're probably going to have references left over, and then save all. Alright, so now all the backend stuff's done. We'll take the ALS character blueprint, and this is itself a child blueprint. It's worth saying. The main ALS one is up there. We're just going to drop this into the child one, which will have a few slight differences as a result, but messing around with the main ALS base character, it's a tad bit more complex and annoying, so we'll just stick to this. So, demo, blueprints in the jetpacks, jetpack third person character. Now, right off the bat, we'll pretty much just take everything, copy, and Control V. Now, normally this whole area is set up so that you can easily get this into any project without needing to add inputs. We've already got input access events in this project though, so we'll just pretty much delete this area. But we'll still need to create these variables. Right click, create variable. Just go around doing this for each of these. This here's a big old replication section. We're just gonna more or less ignore this rather than creating these for now. This here fiddles with the camera to make it change position slightly while flying. You could keep that in. Once again, I'll just remove it. It fiddles slightly with the ALS, and I'm trying to keep this as simple and quick as possible. It's a non-essential thing anyway. So the main thing here is ALS. The parent ALS in this case has its own begin play, which means we can't have a begin play node here, or else it will keep the one in the parent blueprint class from actually running. So we'll hold S to create a sequence node, and we'll just type do once, and with this we'll basically just get it so the very first tick will trigger this, which is basically the same as that. Now right click, create variable. Wait, wrong one, nope. Right click, create variable, right click, create variable, and this is where the tick was. So there, this is what forwards the input values to the jetpack. On that note, let's go here and grab the jetpack actor. Notice it is on spine 03, all zeroed out, under the mesh. So make sure it's childed under mesh. Click parent socket and find spine 03, and properly zero it out. And with that, you can see it's roughly where you want it to be. So now that should probably be showing up here. Yep. Now, over here we've got the equipping, enable, and toggle flight mode stuff. So go around here, right click, create the variables that we need. Down here, this area is D and mouse wheel up and down. This is what you use to toggle stuff by scrolling to pick which jetpack you're using. Does not work in ALS because the parent is already consuming these inputs. So you could go with, this is used to zoom the camera in and out and stuff. So you can change this to some other inputs or go and modify that on ALS itself. But for this example, we'll just have to use the number keys 1 through 8. Select everything here and just refresh node so that all these events are now properly referencing on this ALS character as opposed to still trying to reference to the events on the other one. And now here we wish to bother with this. So get forward. Move forwards and backwards. And we'll just start setting stuff up like this. Since, again, we've already got our input axis events on the parent one, the less that we directly interfere with that, the arguably better, since these can take consume input, so disable that there. Either way. So get right. This is the move right we want. Turn right, so that's the look right. And we're going to want a new one for flying up and down. So go here to Edit, Project Settings, Input Axis Mappings. Here we've got these ones already in the project. So we'll just create move up. And we'll have spacebar and control. Left control to go down, so we'll set that to a value of -1. And you could also put in stuff for the joysticks and whatever else here, but we'll just keep it simple in this example. So now, where's that? All right. So with this, all of our inputs are set up. The character movement, though, going back to the jetpack as a reference, in it there is a few different change settings for how it moves, but the most important is here under character movement and flying. We need this braking and deceleration thing. By default in the ALS, and possibly in yours, that is not there. If we don't have that, the character will just keep floating forever and will not slow down when you stop applying an input. So, there we go. Now, the animation blueprints for our character actually looks like how we want them to. Go up here to Animation, ALS, and BPC. Open that. Now go to our third-person character for the jetpack demo. Go up to it. And find his. Bada bing, bada boom. So, in the event graph area of the jetpack one, we'll take this area and copy it. Go to ALS. Go to Class Settings. Here under the Interfaces, add jetpack inputs. Compile. Save. Now, we'll go to the event graph and just drop this over here. Right-click, create each of these variables. Current jetpack type, yada yada, jetpack flying. And the using jetpack float. This needs to be on the tick, so Control X, cut, go to the update graph, and Control V, paste. This is where they've got the update effectively each tick or moment. We'll just drop this in here so that this will be updating each tick. And now we'll go to the actual animation graph side, or over here if you need to. The default here is the basic walking and run stuff, so we don't need that. Here's the output pose. That's what we'd go to. So this is all the jetpack stuff here. Control C to copy, go back to ALS, go to a tandem graph. Now, we just need to put it before this, but in this case there's a ragdoll section which we probably want to keep working even if we're using the jetpack, so we'll take that whole area out there, Control V. Replug this in here to the base pose for that, and plug this out here. So with this, we will only blend to the jetpack as we need. Now, save. And with this, our ALS character should now be able to work. He's got the jetpack on him. Doing the proper ALS movement and all that. And now we tap E, hands go up. The control sticks. Tap F. And we're flying. Tap F again. E to get off. So, just like that, this is how you can plug it into your character. Now, in the ALS system in particular, it's worth saying you're probably going to want to plug it in a little bit more tightly or limit when you can use the jetpack, because examples, you go up to this thing, there's this climb over stuff type of animation system in the ALS. If we tap E to be using and holding the jetpack, well, that can still work. But suffice to say, our hands are a little occupied, so it looks a little funny. So you'll probably want to refine exactly how this will interface or when you can use this or what other actions you can use with ALS, but a lot of that stuff goes into more of your project-specific requirements and is more in detail in the ALS system, which is not my product, so I won't go too far into that, but yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here we go with all of our different stuff. And just like that, as you can see, we have the ability to use the jetpacks on our character on a different skeleton from the original jetpacks one, as long as the skeleton is UE4 compliant. So, hope that has helped people get a better understanding of an example of how it is that you can bring this over. Here's a little list of each of the general instructions in order, and a few notes on the ALS and specific at the end for you to look at if you want. Pretty much just following the main instructions as can be found in the documentation. This will hopefully, by showing it in a video and step-by-step, help people figure out a little bit more. Again, the initial inputs here that we had were an example of if you don't have any input access stuff yet, but you should probably replace them with these because it's just a lot cleaner and takes up much less space in your project. Normally, you just directly put everything here, but once again, kind of like you don't have the event begin play here because the ALS is a child sub-character class and the parent uses begin play and movement input and stuff nodes. If we put in like the look left and look right nodes here and have them consume input, that would break it. If we put a begin play up here, that would break it. So when using it for the ALS, you'll need to make a few simple changes like we showed here, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same as adding into just about anything else. So yeah, I hope that's been informative. And hopefully you'll stay healthy and have a good one. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below or message me or check out the Discord. Have a good one.